Let's say it's terrific and you poured $100,000 in, like most of our flip homes we see, it's lipstick on a pig. So once you put that on there, they get top dollar because nobody really wants to go out and do the renovations. Today, that's so costly. So they're in business to make money. They bought it from the person who had everything wrong with it. They cleaned it up, they sparsed it up, and now they sell it to you at a profit. And so that's the other home, and that's the dollars. So when we formulate an estimate of what your home is worth, we look at the market from a standpoint of all the homes that sold. What were their current conditions? What were their obstacles?
Welcome to Local Living Tri-City, your go-to podcast for exploring the vibrant communities of Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee. Join me, Liz Jones, as we dive into real estate insights and local business stories, bringing you closer to the heart of our Tri-City area. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Local Living. I am your host, Liz Jones, and today we're going to tackle the subject of what are the biggest and best things you can do when you're getting ready to list and sell your house. I am super excited to be here. Thank you very much. I work the Southern California area. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we are a listing team here in the Southern California area, top 1%, and we would love to share with you some of those best tips and tricks that we help clients do all the time so that when you choose to sell your house, that you'll be prepared for this process. And what does that look like? All right, so let's begin. Let's talk about your family has decided to make a move and you know that it's time to prepare your property, find an agent, and list your home. And how long will that take? So let's break that down. Okay, so in this market, in the Southern California market, if you are in the Inland Valley or the Riverside region, you are probably looking at a 2-week window to prep your home, get it marketed, get it on the market. Once it's on the market, you're probably looking at 30 to 60 days, depending on the house. If it's a high-end home, that could be 120 days to get it sold. And then if you're looking at a standard bread and butter, we call this like 500 to 700, 800,000, that's 30 to 60 days to get it done. So what constitutes the shorter range from the longer range? Why would it take a shorter amount of time to sell a house? There's multiple factors. There's location, there's condition, and there's price. So let's break those down also. So we have location. So if your home is in a beautiful community or a great planned community, you're near the park, you're in a cul-de-sac, you have no neighbors behind you, these are the houses that everybody wants. You have a large lot, you have a usable lot. These are the things that make this incredible. And let's say there's some challenges there. Let's say you have a noisy neighbor. Let's say the way you're positioned on the lot, you back into the windows of somebody else. Let's say you are on a noisy street or a main street and you hear the traffic back and forth. These things make it really, really tough. And these are things we must overcome. So we overcome them 2 different ways: with the condition of the house and the price of the home is selling at. So let's talk about condition. So if you have been living comfortably in your home, I'm sure that your carpets are worn. I am sure that, your paint from the kids running and hitting the wall probably needs some paint. If you've been there 10 or 15 years, the baseboards have probably kicked up a little bit. Cabinets have been opened quite a bit. You've got water spilling over the sink, and now you've got some touch-up that needs to be done. These are the kind of things that show the wear and tear on a home. And predominantly, most of our young buyers are looking for something clean, looking for something fresh that they can move right into. So we call that turnkey. And it's really important that you will provide your house as close to turnkey as possible to get market value. Now, what if that's not something you can do? What if you don't have the money to freshen up your home? What if you don't have the time to freshen up your home? Well, we usually price these homes below market value. And, based on what it needs. If you're talking about the entire house needs flooring, Carpet is one thing, but this on the out, everybody loves a hard surface today. It's easier to keep clean. It's easier to show up nicely. It doesn't have to be replaced as often. And those things will increase value. So what if it's paint? Well, people can see past the paint, but if you're looking at a dark color that pleased you, but the rest of the world doesn't like purple, then you probably want to put some fresh paint on the walls. That will help you at least be approachable in the market and cut down the number of days on market. The more neutral and fresh the colors are, the easier it is for someone to see the house, for it to feel bigger. And then there's the process of decluttering. So if you have a collection of every record known to man that's sitting in one room and it occupies every bit of space, this is just something that's going to turn people off. If you have every wall space occupied with things, this is going to turn people off. So it's important for you to prep your home to make it look as though it's a model home. And what model homes share in common is they have minimal touch, minimal on counters, toasters aren't out, coffee makers aren't out, pots and pans and the dishes aren't out. These are things that models have in common, and that you should strive to make that the visual that people see in your home. Now let's talk about pricing. So we strategize with if it's below market condition, it's probably worth below market pricing. Let's say you just poured in $100,000 into your lovely kitchen and all of its baths. It is fresh, it is current, it is new. It is possible you can expect much higher than market value. We zero out market value. It's the average home, been 10 years since they've renovated. It's got the Tuscan feel going on. It's got the nice dark cabinets. It's got a granite countertop. That's zero. That's ground zero. And if the condition is below that, it's 1990, it's 1960, then depending on how much money it takes to renovate that, that's where your pricing will go. Let's say it's terrific and you poured $100,000 in, like most of our flip homes we see, it's lipstick on a pig. So once you put that on there, they get top dollar because nobody really wants to go out and do the renovations. Today, that's so costly. So they're in business to make money. They bought it from the person who had everything wrong with it. They cleaned it up, they sparsed it up, and now they sell it to you at a profit. And so that's the other home, and that's the dollars. So when we formulate an estimate of what your home is worth, we look at the market from a standpoint of all the homes that sold. What were their current conditions? What were their obstacles? A street behind them, a bad neighbor, a hole in the ceiling. So we look at their obstacles and then we take a look at your home and then we come up with a dollar amount where we believe your house will sell. Now, a lot of times, and I'm being honest, a lot of times I'll come into a property and someone will say, well, we think our house is worth this. Okay. We all want our home to be worth more. But when you hire a professional, me or anybody else, we do the research prior to getting there. And there's some surprises sometimes. We go into a house and it's lovely and we have to eke up our estimations. But we also are going to be judging based on the community. I have a community that I love to sell in called Bear Creek. And when I sell in Bear Creek, it is rare that a home will move in less than 120 days. Their price points are over $1 million. And for some areas in Southern California, that means nothing. But for this local area, it does mean something. And so those properties tend to take 120 days to go off market and get into escrow. But if you take that same dollars and apply it to a tract home inside Harveston, which is another community here, for some reason, the tract home at $1 million will sell in a weekend. So it really is about where your audience wants to be. Where do your buyers want to be? If one community is hot and in demand, it's going to move a lot faster. And we will set the price to reflect that. If another community, however, is not getting the same amount of traffic, it isn't everybody's community. It's a family community versus a retirement community. There's a different audience, a different set of buyers, and a different time frame for selling your home. So your agent, your professional will come to you with some suggestions of how you can structure for a sale. Now, sometimes we have clients who just want to try out the market. I have to tell you, this is not the time to try out the market. It is my experience that as of April 2025, we are seeing a shift in the housing market, a shift away from a seller market with limited inventory to a potential buyer market, which means they hold the cards. And when they hold the cards, we will see price reductions. How much, we don't know yet. I mean, I did just get a couple offers on a property in San Diego, and on that property, we got full price, but 2 offers in a weekend. Same thing will apply over in Corona. We have a hot commodity, very low inventory, so we receive offers quickly. But someplace like the desert, we might feel very differently about that. There's lots of homes of retirees that are selling, and so this will sit for quite a while. So it really depends on what market, where your house is located, what the condition, and what price do you advertise your home at. Let's talk for a second Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com estimations. So in every conversation, ultimately, if someone will say, Realtor says that I'm worth, Zillow says I'm worth. And I want everybody to understand this is a marketing strategy, and it's basically a pinpoint of a location, and it encompasses all the homes, all their upgrades, all their downgrades in an area circled around your home. It averages your square footage and comes up with a price. Now, why would there be such a difference between Realtor.com, Zillow, and Redfin? Because they're using 3 different sets of algorithms, 3 different sets of measurement on that. So clearly, they're just trying to tell you a range, but here's the enemy of your sale. So when others see Zillow says I'm worth $546,000, and you put your house on the market at $650,000, you are sending a message to the potential buyer right away. He believes you're overpriced almost instantly. So we have to justify our pricing, and we have to show evidence of that in your marketing, that it's worthy of the pricing. It's not like it isn't successful. It happens all the time, that you can achieve more than what the community is deserving. However, we have to do an excellent job. Your agent has to do an excellent job of presenting their case to get more than the market average around there. So these are really great tips and tricks. Okay, so what does that look like once you have your house on the market? Once you've been waiting for a few weekends? Why do we host open houses? How do we advertise? What does that look like? And how do we drive traffic in? All great questions. So once your agent produces her marketing, his marketing, there's likely going to be a website, a single page website that tracks all activity, all views, which images they're clicking on. And these single page websites are built, and they monitor and track your traffic to that site. There's MLS, multiple listing service, and on the multiple listing service, it syndicates with all the other search engines out there, the Realtors, the Zillows, and the Coldwell Bankers, the Keller Williams. So every agent under the sun can personalize and say this is their listing, right? So it shows on all of those as well. So not only do you have your own single page website, you have your own MLS page, but then you're syndicated to more than 200 sites. The search engines push this out into the community, and as a result, people click on it, it registers their traffic, and if they save it, it registers their saves. So in addition to that, a great agent will take this and market and spend the dollars on social media to send out traffic, to send out your listing into audiences. Let's say if we're in Orange County, we have a Redondo Beach listing right now. That audience will be targeted by reaching Redondo Beach and surrounding areas. We will target top agents with an email introducing your listing to those agents in Orange County and LA County that might come down there. And that is one way to do it. Then, of course, we set up open houses. When you have an open house, depending on your property, if you're out in Anza, an open house serves no value. There's not going to be foot traffic. There's not going to be drive-by traffic. It will be a dead prospect for you. If you're in a gated community, it's fairly safe to say the traffic will be very limited because there aren't a lot of cars allowed in or going in and out or by it, except for neighbors, and that doesn't serve you. If you are in a community that is high traffic area, like a Harveston, drive-by traffic is incredible, and it will attract people from the outside all the time, people coming and going and seeing neighbors, and it's an excellent place for an open house. So you really have to understand why we do open houses and when we choose not to. And now I want to give you a secret that maybe a lot of agents will not tell you, that only 2% of homes are sold during an open house. Yes, it's a set of eyeballs, but most people are doing a drive-by and they see it and they'd like to stop in because it's entertainment. Next, most people aren't pre-approved before they come into your home. They're just enjoying their time out. Next, this is a lead for your agent or any agent that hosts the open house. It is not likely a lead for your house. It's a great neighborhood. Now, it's not to say that doesn't ever happen. It does happen, but it's not generally what happens. So agents will do open houses when they feel the traffic is uplifting, because that will bring traffic into your home, eyeballs on your home, get feedback of your home that they can bring to you and say, here's what folks said. But it's also a marketing tool for agents. And I want everyone to hear that, because open houses are fun to go to, but they're not necessarily where people buy. Now, there has been a shift, in fairness, over the last 10 to 12 years that independent buyers, new generation, right? They look on Zillow, they find a house, they search for an open house. They're not even involving their agent yet. They go to the open house, they then go back to their agent and say, write me an offer on this house, I really liked it. That is happening a lot. And so in fairness, those numbers may shift. It is a way that they don't have to engage their realtor. They don't have to work with them anytime soon. They can just be independent on their own schedule, and it's working all the time. So, okay, so we talked about what happens when you list your home, how long it might take, what the condition and how you might price the property, whether or not you should do open houses. Let's talk about once you get into escrow. What happens? So you've received a couple offers, you negotiated back and forth, you've talked about your buyer's commission, if you're willing to pay any of that, and now you're going into escrow. So what does that look like? So from that process, what you will do is your agent will give you a few dates that your buyers would like to come in and do investigation of the property. They bring in a specialist that opens up every single drawer, that plugs into every single outlet. They turn on a faucet, they turn on your oven, they turn on your microwave, all of the above. They climb in your attic. They're not there to see the dirt, they're there to see what the house might have that are secrets that cannot be seen. And they write a 60-page report. That's normal, completely normal. And then they will give a summary page. And on that summary page, they will highlight those things they believe need fixing. Now, from that point, that report is sent to your agent, the listing agent. The listing agent will then speak with the other buyer's agent, and together they will come up with suggestions to you as the listing agent of what kind of solution. Do we fix? Do we credit? Do we say no? You are under no obligation, but just know you may risk losing that potential buyer if you say no. In very active markets like LA, where there are 10, 12, 14 offers still, having a property that is as is, no repairs, remove your contingencies ahead of time still takes place. But here in our valley, that's not necessarily the case. And when you push back to that buyer, a lot of times buyers say, okay, I'll just go find another house. And they do. So just saying, every area is different, and you need to be open-minded about where you are selling and how the culture is in that area. So your buyer has put an earnest deposit in with escrow. That is the security that they are engaged and they're invested. They have set up their investigations of their property, and you have got back a potential repair request. Appraiser is called by your lender within the first 7 days, and then we meet them as a listing agent out at the property, and we fight for the cause to secure the price that you're under contract. So sometimes it's high. You get, in other words, it's appraised for higher value, but not likely. And then sometimes it's low. So if the appraisal comes in a little low, we have an opportunity to fight back on that value, and sometimes it's swayed. If not, there's a new negotiation that comes to the table. If the buyers still want the house, even though it appraised lower, and the sellers still want to sell the house, we try to negotiate a price in the middle where all parties agree. So then there's the loan, and that's usually the buyer's responsibility, but we keep up with it. And it is usually contingent on the appraisal coming in, and then all the qualifications of the buyers being met. At this point, almost 17 days have passed in the transaction, and it gets a little quiet. This is a great time to pack. This is a great time to get focused on what you need to do to declutter, trash things out. And then at that point, 5 days before we close escrow, your buyers will visit your house once more. It's after the 17th, not usually, and then right before you close escrow, within 5 days, they come through your house, and it's a great time to meet your buyers. It's a great time to say, hey, I just want to show you how this thermostat works, or hey, by the way, this is how the pool equipment works. And it's a friendly time. It does not have to be stressful in any way. They've already committed to your house. They've already signed away their contingencies. Everything is moving as you planned. You don't even have to clean up, really. And they will then finish the transaction. The team will help you finish it. You'll have your escrow package received back. You'll have your deed notarized. You'll have it then filed with the county. And the next thing you know, it's done. And then it's moving time. So I hope that you have gained a little of insight about all the things that you need to know about selling a house. For more detail, you're welcome to reach out to us. And I'm Liz Jones with Local Living. Until the next time.
Thank you for listening to Local Living Tri-City. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, and surrounding areas. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a friend that is passionate about the Tri-City area as you are. Goodbye for now, and we'll see you next episode.